Hello, everyone. You're listening to Northern Flights, a Park Pro podcast keeping you up to date with the people, tournaments, and culture of disc golf in Canada and beyond. Consider becoming a Patreon today at patreon.com/parkpro. Find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by DiscGolfPark. And now your hosts, Andre, Jesse, and Matt.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Podcast episode 30, Northern Flights. We're back. Jesse's back. There he is.
He's alive.
Yes, I'm here. We made it.
Yeah. How's it going? We missed you last week.
Yeah, I was pretty sick. I had this weird dry cough, and as much as I wanted to come talk to Maddie for a while, I love talking to that guy, but if you had that cough I got every 15 seconds, I got a feeling the listeners would have been terribly happy, so I had to stay away.
Well, YouTube viewers might have been entertained a little bit more on that, though.
Oh, gosh. The comment section. It's always the comment section.
Speaking of comments, we did have one from Ben Loggins, and we have a correction to make on some physics of disc golf flight. Matt, do you want to break that down for us?
I do. We don't have all the details yet, but in our discussion, we talked about why discs fly less far and more overstable, it seems like, in the winter when we play. And we were talking about it, and I believe Maddie, not to throw him under the bus, but Maddie said it's because the cold air is thinner, so it more closely replicates high altitude. And of course, we all know at higher altitudes, our discs fly more overstable. But that's actually incorrect, as Benny Buckets points out. He said that cold air is more dense, so the air density is closer to that at sea level. So it doesn't have to do with air density at all, which would mean that it has something to do with the plastic, or just sort of, my assumption was that it's just harder to throw as far in the winter when it's cold for a lot of different reasons. But there's some reason why our discs seem to fly less far and more overstable in the winter. And we have reached out to a number of physicists, and we're going to try and get a physicist with some experience in disc flight on the podcast to talk about it. So if you know any physicists, so far the one guy that wrote the paper on the physics of Frisbees, he works at Google now and he hasn't responded to us. But if you know a physicist, we're reaching out to Canadian physicists. Ideally, maybe if we have to bring in an expert from the US, we'll do that. But we really want to talk to somebody about the physics of disc flight and solve this mystery. So apologies for the misinformation. Thank you, Benny, for pointing it out. And now we have a real deep mystery on our hands, and we're going to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, and I do suspect that I'm sure Jesse has some thoughts on this as well, because I know Jesse knows a lot about the flight of disc. It's something that...
Temperature is nothing I've ever looked at, but yeah, if you wanted to talk about gyroscopic lift or attack angle of an airfoil or something like that, I'm a nerd and I could help, but
well, there you go.
I've never done the temperature thing before.
Well, there you go.
So I'd have to
Remains
do my
a mystery.
research. Yeah.
Do you feel like your discs fly less far in the winter, Jesse?
Do they? I will say that I am not an off-season fieldwork guy. I don't do it enough to have a lot of my own data. Cold fingers and cold muscles would be probably a greater factor than the density of the air.
And probably footing and
totally
stuff.
Everything like that I think has a probably much greater impact on it. But if you could be inside of a gymnasium throwing at -15 versus inside of a gymnasium at +20, then maybe you've got comparable data. But
and if you own a gymnasium at -20, send us an email, info@parkpro.com, and we'll come out to your cold storage room gymnasium.
Because he's got an idea face on.
No, the dome at the Crossroads.
Oh.
Would be probably 300 feet long, so you'd have to throw something that could fit inside. But
yeah,
I don't know if they heat that, and we could definitely make sure that they didn't for a while.
Yeah.
What about a arena?
The rink is smaller than you think usually.
Yeah.
You'd have to throw from...
I don't throw very far.
A big rink from like the stands over the ice surface and blah, 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 I think.
So if you own an Olympic speed skating venue, indoor speed skating venue...
The rubberized track around the outside.
Yeah.
Where we can throw off of for optimal conditions. Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll get to the bottom of it. And yeah, if you do know a physicist, let us know. For real.
I was a physics Olympian.
Wow.
Tell you that.
No.
That's how I got some way to understand the papers I was reading. In grade 12, I was selected for the nerd squad, and we went to UBC to essentially compete in a physics engineering contest. It was pretty interesting stuff.
Dang.
Learning so much about you.
Yeah. I was either going to do mechanical engineering, and then I decided to go into history. That was a real mistake.
Nah.
I'm glad you stuck to your principles, aka your Bernoulli principles. All right. Listen, we haven't discussed this. Sorry, Andre. I know you want to steer the ship, but today you don't get to steer the ship. We haven't discussed this. We haven't planned this. Jesse, I think it's time that we sing a little song called Happy Birthday. It is Andre's birthday today, the day of recording, Friday the 15th. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Look like a monkey.
And I really love you.
Oh, thanks, Jesse. You guys, I mean, I'm. It's nice that you guys have mics in front of you, but definitely stick to podcasting.
Ungrateful guy.
I appreciate it, guys. It is my birthday. My wife got me a lovely robe for my birthday, so I've been wanting a nice bathrobe or morning robe. I'll call it, and it's got a cool hood on it. Pretty stoked about it.
We should have a robe episode. Sitting on the couch in our
I was actually
gear.
thinking about wearing it because it was like we're so for our listeners and our YouTube watchers, it's a morning, so instead of having a beer or an adult beverage in the evening, we've got our coffees, and Jesse doesn't drink coffee, so but yeah, I did put a little bit of Bailey's in mine since it is Friday, so it's something.
That's also my Friday tradition, which I carry over to every other day of the week too.
What? Oh. Amazing. Yeah, so we are recording this in the morning. Fun morning episode. So this would have been the perfect, robe episode, but maybe the next time we'll have to plan it that way. I figured I'd go with the Christmas attire since tis the season. So
it's a great sweater. The audio listeners are missing out.
Yeah.
That is a badass sweater.
Yeah. For a while there, we did a new Christmas sweater every Christmas for our photos. So gonna have to get one disc golf themed, I think.
Yeah, I tuned into some of the last one with Maddie, and he had the chains on his, and I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I felt like I was missing out, so figured make up for it this week. On today's episode, we're kind of going off I don't want to say we're winging it, but we figured today would be a good time to discuss off-season rumors, and not just Canadians, but we could go over some of the players on the pro tour, and then we also have a tournament to break down a little bit. We had a couple Canadians head down to Florida, so I think maybe we'll start with that one, and we'll talk about that tournament and how they did, because it can kind of lead into maybe some rumors and stuff. So big event in Florida, A-tier. What was it called again?
South Florida Open.
South Florida Open. Canadians performing well,
and local Florida gang also showing up in force there. I believe Matt's got the stats in front of him, but I will spoil who won the MPO. It was the man, the myth, the legend, Johnny McRae.
Final round, the final two rounds, 1061, 1054 to beat out a small but competitive field of touring pros.
Nothing can impress me more than Johnny McRae. His recovery since his heart attacks and stuff and the surgery, he was back on course right away practicing, and he's back in pro, and not just like age protected pro, but true pro form in no time. The man is an absolute killer on the disc golf course.
It's crazy beating Garrett Gurthey in his home state. He's a Florida guy, I think, right? Yep. Nathan Queen, former disc golf pro tour champion. All three Schultz brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's super impressive. You I don't know what that course is like, but you got to think it's a little more open in Florida. No, have you guys seen?
Some of them can be a little jungly. I think it depends where you are in Florida.
I just think about Garrett Gerthy's arm and how far he can throw, and to see a guy like Johnny, it's no secret that as you age, your distance goes down a little bit. So it's super impressive to see him still competing at such a high level against these guys that are much younger than him and able to throw a mile. So
I think we've discussed his age before and we looked it up, but he's got to be in his 50s now, right?
I think he's almost 60, isn't he?
Well,
No, I gotta be.
All right, well, you guys look that up.
Stat guy Jesse's on it.
Yeah, I gotta know.
Yeah. A lot of people just die from heart attacks.
Yeah. It's really inspiring. Like, I just I don't know. So the Disc Golf Pro Tour just came out with their awards and they had the comeback player of the year, and if he ever qualified for that, he would be hands down he's the winner in all our hearts.
If this event was a Silver Series event, I think he probably would have locked it up.
Yeah, totally.
James Proctor, great player. I'm not sure where he came back from. He came back from not playing all the events in a year. I don't know if that counts.
Yeah.
The two comeback player of the year awards were a little bit sketch in my mind.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know enough. And sorry, I looked it up and I was wrong. Just because Johnny looks like Santa Claus, he's only going to be 51 in this year.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I didn't look at James Proctor's history enough to know if he had a full touring season in 2017 or something. Then he played all those, only 2 event a year kind of seasons, and this is the big comeback. But yeah, it's not like he had a failing season anytime where he really rallied and came back. He just wasn't playing as much.
If you're really good at disc golf, say maybe not, something like Paul Macbeth or someone maybe even a little less talented than that. But if you're really good and you just take a year off every other year, you could win it at every other year.
Yeah, it is a bit strange.
Secret hacks on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Yeah. I will say that Paul didn't have the best season, and he took some events off at the end. If he was to come out in 2017 Macbeth form and shred the tour next year, I think I'd give him comeback player of the year.
I mean, one of their qualifications is coming back from injury, and it sounds like he's battling with that still to this day. So it sounds like from the sounds of it, it's similar to Eagles in a way. And he's kind of doing similar treatments. He's getting these injections. And we're kind of going off on a tangent here. We were talking about the tournament, but it would be awesome to see Paul come back in full force next year.
Yeah, that first event in Europe when he came in 20th or whatever. And the comment sections are, Macbeth is washed. He's done. It's over.
Yeah, if you can come back from getting beaten by Joey Tamale, that's comeback player of the year in my books. That's the lowest of the lows for a guy like Paul Macbeth, but he came back,
Totally. Any other notables on the MPO side? In that tournament?
Not on the MPO side. On the FPO side, however, Rossport, Ontario's Irina Shakova, who might not be a familiar name to a lot of you yet, but she will be. She came in 4th in a relatively competitive FPO field, 1 shot behind Sarah Hokum for the podium. Jessica Weiss took it down, but Irina shot well above her rating, 30, 35 points above her rating, beating out Stacy Kiefer, Jordan Lins, just really representing and shooting well down there. Irina is a super fascinating player. I think she lived in Russia for a while, lived in Israel for a while, came to Rossport, which is just outside of Thunder Bay, and you are going to see her all over our Canadian Nationals coverage because she is she can rip.
She can rip, and she's a character. She was super fun to film, and just genuinely a nice person, and one of those types of people that you really want on your card because she's keeps your spirit up, let's say.
Yeah.
Even when she has a bad throw or anything, she's really good at shrugging those off. So definitely looking forward to seeing that coverage and putting that together for you guys.
Yeah. And in the MP40, Chance Stad from Surrey, British Columbia, went down, cashed, tied for 7th. Had a couple of pretty good rounds, played below his rating, but still, coming back from some back issues. Really good to cash down there at a pretty competitive MP40 tournament. So nice work by Chance as well.
Yeah, totally. We don't really get a chance to see Chance. He's more playing in that MP40 division, but we know him and we've seen him play, and he's talented. He's got his own line of discs with MVP and whatnot. Whether that's official or if it's just sort of a fundraising opportunity for him, but definitely go check him out on social media and whatnot, and support Chance in any way you can, so he can keep going down to the States and competing in these events.
He's got some glitches right now. I think his a lot of his disc art is HP Lovecraft themed. So if you're into that nerd stuff, Jesse.
You know what? I own the Lovecraft collection of books. I've never opened a single one.
Me neither. I don't know anything about it. There's weird aliens, I think. That's the only thing I know about HP Lovecraft.
Classical horror, and he's probably famous for popularizing that Cthulhu character, that octopus underworld creepy dude,
Yeah. So yeah, check out Chance. I think we gave away one of his discs around, because he hosted the Raptors Knoll skins match that we put out.
Yes.
So I think we might have given away one of his discs. If not, we should probably give away that disc. But I think we gave it away.
I'm looking beside me, and there's a fat stack of discs to give away.
Yeah.
And there's some pretty nice stuff there. So keep your eyes peeled for, I guess if you're a patron, for sure. And maybe in other ways.
Yeah, if you're a patron of Parked Pro, you are automatically entered into all of our giveaways, and most of our giveaways happen on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, go to @ParkedPro, check us out, give us a follow us on @cdgt.ca, and you're going to have a pretty good chance of winning some of these discs. Andre, I don't know if we've planned to do our giveaways from the BC Open yet, but if not, we'll do those pretty soon.
Away on this episode.
Yes, heck yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So that's our Canadian news. Good job to our Canadians that went down to Florida.
You have to listen to the end of the episode though in order to figure out who won.
Yeah,
because we'll do it right at the end.
Yeah.
What do you guys get for BC Open? Scott's giving you some disc and Kirby as well. Is that what I saw? Or
we were giving away a signed Scott Withers Berry, which was I think the pink disc that he threw on a few holes. You guys didn't recognize, but it's a berry. It's a very buzz-like neutral mid. So that one's signed by Scott Withers. We gave away. We already gave away one Kirby Snyder Boreum to in the comment section of the YouTube, and we got another one of those we're giving away. We're giving away a BC Open Enigma, and we're giving away one of those sick Cloud Breakers, those limited edition black and gold and red Cloud Breakers.
Nice. Yeah, those came out super pretty. I know I'm in a position to boost Discmania all the time, but I really think those Cloud Breakers, some of the color combos came out so nice.
And the
stamp. Purple and gold.
Oh.
If you got the purple and gold, hit me up. I'll buy it.
Yep.
Yeah, me. Just sorry to interrupt for our YouTube listeners or watchers. Making our debut on Northern Flights is Juniper. The whole reason we kind of mostly took a break for this summer and last year as well is this lady right here. I'm currently on daddy duty, so it's going to make for interesting podcasting sometimes.
She's such a cutie, but she's a little bit frightened of me this morning. So I think she's curled in, hiding behind Dad a little bit.
Yeah, she was doing pretty good until a little while ago. She was trying to escape our little studio. So anyways, we can keep talking about disc golf.
Yeah. So I thought, it's kind of the off season right now. We've got players that are under contract that might not be under contract going into the next season. We've got players that have already signed some new contracts. Do we want to take some guesses for people that might be moving to different manufacturers this year? What do you guys think?
Yeah, totally. I think a good place to start is we can kind of go over some of the Canadians, and this is kind of something we're talking about doing and putting up on our website is getting a list of Canadian disc golfers, some of our top disc golfers, and we'll see where they are, what manufacturers and what their sponsors are right now, and what their situations are, and then maybe speculate on where they might be as well. So I think we'll start with MPO.
And I'll take over because the technical department is doing some maintenance on Andre's mic right now, and they don't seem to be quite done with their project. So looking at our own Canadian Disc Golf Tour leaderboard, the top players here are the ones that hold the bigger sponsorships. We'll look at them. From the top, we've got Casey Hannemeyer. I know personally that I believe his Prodigy contract is up. He's signed with them a couple times back-to-back. And I don't know if I expect to see any movement there. He seems to be well taken care of. Any thoughts on that?
Is Casey Hannemeyer able to throw anything other than an A3? I think it might totally destroy his game if you had to take his A3 out of his hands. I think his entire I think he'd be a 980 rated player without that A3. Look, hot take, but
it's funny because I know before when he had an open bag, he was throwing a combo of Gator and Rat. Which I think the Rat was kind of like the beat-in version of that A3, and well, the Gator was the Gator. But yeah, he's really known for getting into a comfort zone with those like four-handy approach discs, and they do a lot of work for him. And in the last few years, he's become completely synonymous with the A3.
Yeah. Prodigy invests a fair bit into Canada, so I'd be surprised if that changed, and he's their biggest name in Canada right now, obviously. So hopefully they're taking care of the guy, and it seems to be working out well. He's got pretty much all the tools that he needs in that lineup of discs. So,
and I guess he's probably the biggest ticket in the country outside of Thomas.
Yeah, and the fact that his contract is technically up this year, that might lead to speculation, but I think he's just too comfortable where he is. And I mean, if you're doing well throwing the disc that you have, why make the move?
I guess the only thing, and this might go for everybody that we talk about on this list, is that I know that House of Discs has more money for sponsoring players, and I've heard through the grapevine that Innova Canada has more money for sponsoring players as well. So there might be other people that can give him competitive offers for the first time. Because as far as I know, Prodigy was offering him a lot more than the other suitors.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see, and that's kind of what we're hoping to. It's kind of like we're a service for that, because we're hoping to bring more eyes onto these Canadian players. Like that's our whole goal at Park Pro, is kind of make this sort of a stepping stone. So anything that we can do to bring attention to these people and show off their talents through video or through the podcast, I think all that's kind of a boon. And I think Canada is sort of ripe for the taking as far as sponsorships go. So I think it's kind of never been a better time to be seeking sponsorships in Canada. So hopefully we'll start to see some more people get sponsored. So.
And if it's like we're sort of contextualizing some of these Canadian pros, right? Like you see Scott Withers come up, you see Chris Nelson come up, and you see Carter Aarons come up. And spoiler alert, this is your last chance to watch the BC Open. Casey Hannemeyer beats them all, and walking away on the last few holes too. That sort of helps contextualize where somebody like Casey Hannemeyer's at. He is a very, very competitive disc golfer. It's not always easy to make it on the tour. Playing on the tour in the States is it's a huge commitment, and it's like oftentimes it's a multi-year commitment. So getting to see like where these Canadian players are at compared to some of these touring pros that you might see in the States, I think is pretty invaluable.
Yeah, totally. And then why don't we jump to the other player? I don't know if you guys know what Noah's contract situation, but Noah is currently sponsored by Prodigy as well. I'm not sure if he's on what kind of a yearly deal he is, but I see him staying with Prodigy. And then Thomas Gilbert seems pretty locked in for with TSA, especially given that I think he released a new disc recently, the putter.
Yeah, he just got
Numa.
his signature putter out. So
Yeah, so that's obviously working out really well for him. And then Brian Freeze is one that we can talk about because he's currently only sponsored by Disc Republic, which is a retailer sponsor. And I think that leans into the idea that maybe a manufacturer could come in and give him a sponsorship as well. So
yeah, it's interesting with Brian because he was cut from DD right before they got all the House of Disc money to have more players. I wonder if that's something to be back on the table from some familiarity, or something that'll never be on the table because, Brian doesn't feel comfortable going back there after, if it ended a certain way, what have you. But I think he's probably the most valuable free agent out there right now. He's top 5 in the country, no matter what list it's on. And based on the leaderboard in front of us, he's number 2 on the Canadian Tour. I know Discmania has a little bit more for Canada. You said Innova's got desire to pick people up. It's probably going to be something like that. I wonder, because Latitude is looking to pick up people as well as Castoplast, if being back in that trilogy box feels the same way as being at DD for him and might have some feelings attached to it.
I know I think he still putts with judges. He throws a fuse as sort of one of his signature discs. So the trilogy family would sort of make sense from a disc perspective. I think maybe he does also throw some Firebirds, and I forget what he throws for a high-speed driver, though. But I think he'd be able to throw pretty much anybody's discs because he's a super talented forehand and backhand guy, and he's one of the best personalities in Canada in the Canadian disc golf space. So
yeah, that's the other thing. I hate to break it to all the kids listening. You give more value to your sponsor by being someone that people want to buy discs from than by playing good. And Brian is the double whammy because he plays really well, and you walk up to him and he's smiling, laughing. He makes you feel like a friend. You want to support him, and that's good for business.
Yeah, we just talked about Irina being a really good person to have on your card, and I'd say Brian is equally as good. He's a blast to be around, and just genuinely a really good guy. If you don't know who Brian Freeze is, we actually did a little parked profile on him, which is something we're going to hope to implement a little bit more. It was kind of our tester piece and seems to be well received. So get to know Brian on our YouTube channel, looking up the parked profile. So he's just a great guy, and hopefully you can find a decent sponsor. The last guy on the MPO side that I think we can talk about is our good friend of the show, Max Rogednig. Seems like he's pretty stuck in with Discmania, but Jesse would know more about that than I do.
Yeah, I don't want to tell too much because I know some private information and stuff like that. That there's nothing dramatic. It shouldn't sound like that. Just that I know Max's contract was on a 1 year last year, and so his contract is technically up. I think he's been on a 1 year contract every year though, and he's signed 6 years back to back to back. So that's not something that's indicative of a move or anything like that. I'm also not sure what his touring desires and things are coming up. I assume he wants to get back out there, but he's got a lady in his life now, and maybe there's a bit of settling or a redacted schedule a little bit, something like that might change things. Yeah, because I do know when he was trying to negotiate his previous contract with Discmania for his last touring season, he was looking to change his compensation to help deal with his travel costs and things that were more indicative of a touring disc golfer than a local disc golfer, right? Our contracts are great. I know Max gets more than I do, and he deserves it and should, but it's mostly focused around product and things like that, where I think that if he had a sponsor that was looking to give him less product and maybe more gas money, it might be something that would entice him.
Yeah, I noticed he has not signed up for a tour card yet, but neither has Ricky Wysocki, so that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it'd be definitely be interesting to see what his plans are, and I look forward to maybe we'll have him on, and once he does make a decision on how often he's going to go down a tour, and obviously his sponsor, we can have him on to chat about those decisions. So
Yeah. Now, speaking of free agents, do we know if Sofia Dunica is planning on playing some more disc golf this coming year? Because she lit it up down with the Canadians at the Pan Am games for the Whiff Diff Pan Am Challenge. I forget the exact name of it, but did really well. You probably saw her and heard her on our BC Open coverage if you check that out. She is also without a sponsor going into the next season, as far as I know.
Yeah, she also finished really well at TCO, and I think this was kind of her prove a year for sure. She's kind of solidified herself as one of those top FPO players in Canada. So I'd be really surprised if someone didn't try to pick her up.
Yeah.
She's probably the hottest free agent ticket in FPO Canada. Maybe the hottest FPO ticket even out of people that have sponsors. I really think that she's going to be leading the charge out west here in the next years to come if she keeps playing. She seems like she's all in as well. You know, sometimes you wonder if it's a flash in the pan from someone that's just really athletic, and then next year I'm going to take up snowboarding and something else and be fantastic at that too, right?
Yeah.
Some people just have that in them.
Now that we got baby sleeping peacefully, let's get back to it. So we were talking about Sofia Dunica. There's a bunch of other really good, talented Canadian FPO players. Most of them are sponsored. Chantel Badinsky is currently the highest rated FPO player in Canada, 936. She is a Prodigy sponsored player as well, and got a big Silver Series win down in the States. A lot of people saw her. She did some commentary for us for the Foxwood Open FPO coverage, if you haven't seen that. I would imagine Prodigy would do anything they in their powers to keep her under contract if she's not already under contract for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we were saying before, it's about selling discs. Her big win made her known to the American scene a lot better. Off camera, we were talking about how great a YouTube channel she has and how much reach she has. So she's really the whole package for any sponsor that wants her. And I'm wondering, again, just like all the other ones, with all the money coming in from House of Discs and other people in this last year or two, if Prodigy wants to keep her, if they'll be going up against some competition.
It would be smart if you were looking to grow your brand in Canada, and she's got, you know, reach across North America too. So she's got to have one of the biggest FPO channels, period, on YouTube, I would imagine.
Yeah, totally. I think given her personality and obviously that following that she has, I think a lot of manufacturers are looking for that. Like you said, it's especially in Canada, it's more about what you can sell, and obviously she's putting Prodigy's name out there in Canada, probably almost arguably more than anyone else. So,
and she is signed up for a tour card, so she is definitely planning on playing some more events in the States in 2024. So that's exciting to see. Second highest rated FPO player in Canada right now is Colleen McInnes, who we got to see on Foxwood coverage, we got to see on the BC Open coverage, and we're going to see a bunch on Nationals coverage coming up soon. And I believe she is going to do some commentary for us on that Nationals FPO coverage as well. She straight up rips and makes putts like I only wish I could. I think she's sponsored by T3. We were sort of speculating offline here. We're not totally familiar with what T3 is, but we're going to look into that and we'll let you know. But I mean, if I was Innova, I would probably sponsor her because she throws turns further than I do. And she is going to be on a bunch of highlights with her play this year. So,
and I think she even got down to a couple of Silver Series events and A tiers last year in the States.
She was on that coverage with Chantel at the Flying Disc Open where Chantel won it, and Colleen was right up there for the win going into the back nine, I think. So did really
she's
well for herself.
Undoubtedly one of the best Canadian disc golfers on the FPO side. So it only makes sense that someone tries to pick her up. So
yeah, she was a teammate of mine on TopLink back when we had a retailer sponsor there, and she was a leader in that team, helping organize things and really maybe like talk about like the new guys we've got coming in that are making all the big flash. She's someone that's been there for years, doing it right. She's a known quantity, and someone has a great YouTube channel that has a lot of value, but also being the person in your community that people come to for advice and talk to has a lot of value too. And I think Colleen is that position as well. She's been around long enough that people respect her opinion, and she's always part of the conversation, locally, provincially, and a great advocate for the sport in general.
100%. Sandy Hendel, speaking of players that have been around for a while and veterans on the scene, Sandy Hendel is currently throwing Prodigy. Wouldn't be surprised to see that continue. She was, I don't think she's been with Prodigy for a long, long time.
No, there's only 2 seasons max. I thought it was only 1 season. I'd like to see her go to Innova, just because Marty's been such a staple of Canadian disc golf for Innova for I don't know how many seasons now, half a dozen at least. Widely regarded as the best player in the country until these new guys started chipping away at that. And Sandy and Marty are inseparable. Like, they play all the same tournaments together. They caddy for each other. They support each other. And having matching logos on those two, I think, would be a smart idea.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. And then I think we've got a couple of players sponsored by Castaplast, Christy Lee, obviously another mainstay in the Canadian scene. Yeah. And then we had Gabby Lee, not related, I don't think, who's done some commentary for us as well. Did a really great job with Sophia on that BC Open coverage. I forget who her sponsor is, but Gabby Lee's got a sponsor, right?
I don't know if she does, to be honest.
Not a manufacturer. Is she with Ace Runners?
She definitely doesn't have a manufacturer sponsor, and I don't even think she has a retail sponsor at this point. So, well, she's another person that someone's got to jump on it, because she's just up and coming. She just cracked the 900 rating. So, I think that's something that's coming. That's usually a mark on the FPO side. That's usually a mark that a lot of retailers and manufacturers look for. Once you're above that 900 rated, they start to pay a little bit more attention to you. So I think it's only a matter of time, and Gabby's kind of destined to have more time on camera and obviously on the mic with us. So I think it just kind of makes sense.
Yeah, she does a great job on commentary, and we're going to have her back on for commentary in the next couple of tournaments, I think. So
totally, and hopefully on the podcast as well. We've kind of put it out there that if one of us is missing, then we'd love to have her perspective on things, especially from an FPO side on a number of topics. So
I don't know her at all, but she was just taking notes for the I'm going to call it BCDS, because I don't know what they renamed it to, the BCDS AGM.
BC Disc Golf Association.
BCDGA. And she has perfect typing posture, and everything was going. I was just like, that's just a person who has a little bit of excellence at everything, because I can't even sit up straight to do my work. And just that, I was like, yep, that's a person that cares to do a good job of things. She'll be successful. You can always tell.
Totally.
Definitely.
Yeah, she definitely has that attitude. So, and always improving. So, yeah, excited to see what the future holds for her as well.
I just, since we're on the PDGA page, might as well go through the top PDGA rated MPO players here. If you count Kim Scott Wood as a full-time pro, then he is still the highest rated player in Canada. I'm not sure he's quite active enough to really be considered in that category right now, but on paper, Kim Scott Wood's still the highest rated player in Canada. Casey Hannemeyer and Marty Hendel are tied for the second highest rated players from Canada right now. So Casey Hannemeyer had a heck of a year and got his rating up. And then Thomas Gilbert is a few places behind them. Him and Max are about 1 point apart for 4th and 5th on the Canadian ratings. And then Stu is the 6th highest rated player, Stuart McKissick. He's an MP40 player most of the time, but he is still ultra competitive out there. I think he was clearing out some discs, but I imagine he's probably still going to be throwing Innova next year.
Yeah, I'd like to think that Stu's sponsorship is as much for his play as for his work in course design.
Yeah.
I think he was with Latitude for 2 seasons maybe, before he went down and got that MP40 win in Vegas. Vegas being an Innova event, catches people's attention. He ends up with Innova, and then his course design is putting all Innova baskets in the ground. His partner that he does it with, Chris Hartman, also Innova ambassador. It just makes sense to keep him there.
Yeah. And then rounding out the 1,000 rated players, Noah Higgins, also at 1,005, tied with Stu McKissick, and Brian Fries at 1,001. Those are your 1,000 rated players from Canada. Jade Smith ducked 1 point under 1,000. Lowest rating of his career. 999.
Yes, that's unfortunate.
Wild.
Noah actually
Washed. Jade Smith is washed. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Noah just cracked 1,000 this year, so congrats to him. I know he's super pumped. I believe it was after the Big Bear, I think.
No, Gold Eagle.
Gold Eagle, that's what it was, yes.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that coverage as well.
Yeah, if you're looking at Instagram, he's making 300 putts a day in his basement still. Like, he's still hungry, and I really like that.
And he's a young guy, and I know he wants to try to make it out on tour as well. So, I mean, sky's the limit for him too. So,
yeah, he's got to be in his 20s now. I keep thinking about him as that 16-year-old that I met.
In his 20 now.
In his 20, he might be 20.
Yeah.
So,
somewhere around there.
A lot of runway left.
Yeah, I think he was just up to my hip the first time I played with him. And now he's up to my
shoulders.
Nipple, but
yeah. So if you're looking to sponsor some Canadian players, there's your list.
Yeah.
A lot of good options.
Definitely. And I mean, if you know anyone that wants to sponsor Canadian players, definitely reach out. And if you want to get a hold of these people, you don't know how, let us know. We have contact with most of these players, so we can definitely get you in touch with the right people. So speaking of sponsors, today's episode and all of our episodes is brought to you by DiscGolfPark. DiscGolfPark is a unique disc golf course concept developed in Finland in 2005. It is based on the idea of building sports facilities in an environmentally friendly way. DiscGolfPark provides great experiences for players of all skill levels, from beginners to professionals. Our main ideology is to introduce disc golf to new audiences. There are several options to suit any kind of course, and all official disc golf parks include professional and safe course design, Disc Golf Park Pro targets, tee pads and tee signs, and an info board to welcome players to your course. The Disc Golf Park World concept consists of multiple courses designed for different types of players. Multi-golf is a new, fun activity for the whole family, and in multi-golf, 3 forms of golf are played: foot golf, disc golf, and park-style pitch and putt. School Disc Golf Park offers students a new and exciting form of exercise for the physical education classes. A course suitable for schools could be designed even in a small area, for instance, a schoolyard. Furthermore, the costs of School Disc Golf Park are lower than those of regular disc golf parks. We also offer private and group lessons or clinics. For more information, check out the website, discgolfpark.com, and request a quote today. And I will add on to that, go back and listen to the interview with Maddie. And we had Maddie on last week to talk about winter disc golf and his career kind of leading up to this point in course design. And it's just a fantastic listen and interview. So it's I mean, if you're into course design, or if you're looking for properties, I know every community is kind of looking for the next course. So definitely worth reaching out to him.
Yeah. It's not a disc golf course. It's a disc golf park.
We can move on to down south. I mean, I know we're a Canadian Park podcast, but I mean, there's lots of juicy rumors going out there about some of the top professionals in the game on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So, I don't even know where to start here.
Eagle McMahon, Latitude 64. That's my bet. That's my guess. Discmania is clearing out a bunch of discs. They found a bunch of his old discs, doing inventory, collecting dust on shelves, and they're clearing out all the cloud breakers and all the stuff that they said they were sold out of. He's no longer a crush boy. That sort of, that marketing push is dead. So now what do you do? How do you sell discs with Eagle's name on them? I tell you what you do. You shuffle them to the other brand in your company. You get people buying Latitude discs that they've never bought before. He could probably turn over a Stiletto Eagle McMahon to Latitude 64. That's what I'm guessing. Jesse, you look skeptical.
Well, I don't like feeding the rumor mill surrounding somebody attached to Discmania with myself attached to Discmania. So big asterisk, disclaimer, rumor, disclaimer. I heard this third hand from somebody else that they said saw Eagle playing with MVP discs probably about 2.5 weeks ago.
You know who also makes overmolds, though, Jesse? Latitude 64. They've got the Fuji. He'd do really well with that. It's like a Razor Claw, but not. They've got the Bryce.
Mid-range, yeah.
They've got the Gobi.
All those have been disco for like 3 years, I think.
Yes.
But no, someone said they saw him playing with MVP. I wouldn't doubt if Eagle is playing with the idea of moving, that he's going to get a bag worth of discs from this guy, a bag worth of discs from this guy, a bag worth of discs, throw all the discs, see if he can click with the product, and see if, the product plus the contract make a good fit for him. Or he's just trying to get some leverage to go back to Discmania and get more money. Right? That's I don't know how often that happens at disc golf, but it happens in like every other sport, right? Guy goes into free agency in hockey, but he wants to stay at his current team. He gets offered way more money from a bunch of other people. He looks back at his team and goes, they're going to give me $6 million. I'll sign back at home for 5.5, but I'm not taking the 3 that you originally offered me, kind of thing.
It'd be great if like Connor McDavid in the summer was just like seen at a rink in the city, like skating around with a Florida Panthers jersey or something like that.
Yeah, at an open practice.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just trying it on.
Yes. Make sure it still fits.
Wow.
So that could be the biggest move of the offseason if it happens. Again, this is like a Facebook message I got because my friend said he saw this thing.
Yeah.
That would be
Simon's
big.
there. The reunite could be big for MVP.
Yeah, and I mean it could just be as simple as he wants to test the disc out. He probably got offered a like if you're a disc manufacturer, are you not offering a contract to Eagle?
If I'm Hooligan Discs, I'm sending him a box of discs. If I'm anybody.
Exactly. So the thought is like, if you're Eagle, you're going to want it. He's ultra competitive. He's going to want to do really well. So he's probably taken every single one of these manufacturers out and testing them, including MVP, who I'm assuming has also offered him a contract.
You know who else makes overmold discs? Yikun Discs. You know who Yikun Discs makes discs for? Latitude 64. What if the new Eagle line of discs was all Yikun made overmolds for House of Discs? Wouldn't that be the move of the century? What if it was Discmania's overmold line was Yikun made overmolds, and it was all, and he only played with Eagle McMahon branded Yikun overmolds. Twin swords.
I love it.
Sales are going to go through the roof.
I don't think Yikun makes anything stable enough for Eagle to actually throw it, though.
No, they've got
overmold twin swords. You could throw with a 2-finger pinch grip behind your back.
They've
and
got
it would turn over.
something hammer. They've got one of those like thumb tracky approach discs.
Right.
I forget the name. Apologies, Yikun. Well, okay. So put it another way. Who signs the bigger contract? Eagle McMahon, Gannon Burr, or Paige Pierce? I would think they're probably the 3 biggest free agents right now going into the next season without contracts in the sport. Mm-hmm. Who's signing the biggest contract of the 3 of those?
Eagle, then Gannon, then Paige.
See, I would have gone Gannon, then Eagle, then Paige.
I would have said that's the first thought I had in my head, and then I thought that Eagle sells disc by name a lot better than Gannon.
I think Paige sells discs better than Gannon. I think she probably sells 2 or 3 times as many discs as Gannon Burr.
We saw her taper off a lot, but mostly from injury and a shortened schedule and everything. I don't think that she's got as much pull anymore. It's so crazy, and I think it's because of, honestly, to the listeners, this isn't you, it's everybody else. Stupid disc golf fans that know nothing are just dogpiling on that Kristen Tatar bandwagon. And like, they're like, I've only played for 2 years. I've seen Kristen Tatar be the most dominant woman ever. And they put these comments that I read that are a paragraph about how there's never been a female athlete that's played the game. No one will ever compare to Kristen Tatar. No one ever has these accomplishments, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, one, that's disgusting to Paige because she's half the size and she's athletic as hell and her technique is flawless. And if you put it on any MPO size body, it would be a 700-foot thrower. So take a place to take a hike, commenters. And it's also gross disrespect to someone like Juliana Korver.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that she's the only woman to ever cash at USDGC against the men, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one of the biggest benefits of signing Paige is that you're not just getting the player, you're getting her brand. She's got a major brand, and you know, despite this, what you said, like the newcomers all following Kristen, Paige Pierce has got a major following, and it's, even though she hasn't done as well in the last year or two, she's still one of the best FPO players. And even with Kristen's dominance, she's still going to put so many discs in so many people's hands. So
Paige Pierce is still by a long shot the second most popular FPO player in the world. And from the Ulti World survey, I'm getting this right from the fandom survey that they did this year. Paige Pierce, more people bought Paige Pierce Tour Signature Series discs than Paul Ulibarri, Kyle Klein, Jeremy Colling, Greg Barsby, and yes, by about 3 percentage points, Gannon Burr, Chris Dickerson, Nicholas Antila, Ezra Aderhold, Isaac World Champion Robinson, Matty O, Garrett Gerthy. People buy Paige Pierce discs at a rate that is only surpassed by about 8 or 9 other players in the world.
So my thought on that as well is that it also comes down to the name or the disc that the name is on, right? Paige has her name on a lot of beloved Discraft molds, and Discraft has been the hot ticket for the last couple of years. I feel like if you are a Buzz person and you like the Paige Signature Buzz plastic better than the Paul Signature Buzz plastic, you're going to buy that disc regardless if you like Paige's name anyway, where, no offense, Prodigy fans, it's sometimes really hard to like what they're putting Gannon's name on for people that aren't brand specific people. So I think the disc sells itself a little bit and the player sells the disc a little bit. I really do think that the Kristen era is fully eclipsed Paige's ability to be marketable as the best. I think there's even some negative connotation around Paige now as the one that fell off or the one that doesn't care anymore and things like that. And the disc is carrying it for her a little bit. I'd like to see that change because you just got my opinion. I think she's one of the greatest of all time.
And can we say a lock for comeback player of the year in FPO next year?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. Maybe if somebody else wants to sign her, first disc in the Signature Series, the comeback. It's actually a boomerang, not PDGA approved.
She goes to all the festivals and stuff. Maybe that's her like fun catch disc. It's the comeback, and it's a boomerang-esque disc. God, I'd like to see her come back and be the person, because I also think that Kristen needs Paige.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Paul needed Rick and Rick needed Paul, like Kristen needs Paige.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's healthy for her to be so dominant because it makes the division stagnant. But that's a talk for another day. If it's on pure sponsorship, things like that, I think that Paige has enough history behind her that any company that picks her up if she leaves can roll into a big marketing campaign right away that will be successful. You don't have to get any sort of like brand recognition started so people can know what it is. Everybody knows who Paige is. Her stock's just been downgraded over the last 18 months.
Yeah.
She's also one of the more charismatic players. Like she's, really opens up in interviews. She tells you what's on her mind. She's not afraid to say that she wants to win and be competitive. And I find her thoroughly refreshing, especially from the FPO side of things. Yeah, I think if I was a manufacturer, she'd be higher on my list than Gannon Burr, to be honest. And I think she'll make more. But I think Eagle probably is still going to rake in that bank.
Yeah, I think you put a high-speed driver with Eagle's name on it and some artwork of any kind, it's going to sell like hotcakes. I guess the other thing is that like Prodigy never built that brand around Gannon in the same way as these other manufacturers built their brand around Eagle and Page, right? So there's a lot of work to do to get him established in the market that way. But I think his results will be able to carry it if they get the right team around him.
I still think Gannon's going to command the most. And I'm not talking maybe not the most per year, but I think the longest, and like as far as duration and total amount, I think Gannon takes it because I think someone's going to want to see how young he is and lock him up for the next 10 years. Because if you can get Gannon Burr in his prime for 10 years, that's like you're kind of locked into sales for the next 10 years. So
I would agree if disc golf contracts weren't just proven to be not worth the paper that they're written on.
Yeah.
People will be paying to break these contracts moving in and out. Maybe if the money keeps growing and we're not seeing $1 million contracts for Paul and we're seeing $5 million contracts and it's worth damaging your reputation. Because it's also like disc golf is so strangely public. You don't hear about contract arbitration and stuff like that in other major sports, but Prodigy sues Gannon Burr. Every headline of every disc golf page, every Facebook group. You can't walk to your local course without somebody. Did you hear about Gannon Burr? Like,
yeah, totally.
I love it, and I hope it stays that way. I don't care. I actually don't really care to know about the contract details in terms of compensation. It's nice to know that the top players are getting paid. But when we do find out, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. It definitely adds a whole new dynamic. And I think it's interesting because the off season is maybe one of the more interesting times. Like, I feel like during the season, the play is the focus, and then this off season there's more speculation, there's more rumors, and I don't know. It's exciting in a way, in a different way. It's like a behind the scenes. It's kind of, for lack of a better word, it's the more nerdy, exciting things as opposed to the athletic, exciting. So,
do you have another thing surrounding Gannon? Speculative, but say Eagle
is it a
does
lawsuit?
No. Say Eagle does leave Discmania with no Simon and no Eagle. You would think that's opened up a lot of the budget for players.
Yeah.
If they're making the run at Gannon Burr, and that was the rumor early on. If they're going to take Gannon, are they also going to take Alden Harris?
Yep.
And they're going to keep the boys together, the vlog gang?
Yes. If I was Discmania, I would put all my eggs into the Gannon, Gavin, Alden bucket and just let them be the personality of the team moving forward. Having players that like each other and want to create content together is like, it's worth its weight in gold. I think, I bet Alden Harris has already signed with Discmania. I bet Gannon Burr's already signed with Discmania. I bet this is all done. I don't know anything about anything, but that's what I would do if I was Discmania.
Yeah, just even talking back to like Chantel's YouTube channel and things like that. If that sells discs, then oh boy, would that sell discs, right? Having those guys with a little bit of Discmania branding worked into it.
I would pay another person to go out on the road with them with a camera and help out with the editing. I would honestly let them be personalities on tour. Just like, a lot of what Nate Sexton and Jeremy Colling and Paul Ulibar get paid for is being the Jomez guys and doing practice rounds and stuff like that. Their disc sales and their marketability far extends beyond their play on the course. And that's what I would do. I would, you take some of the load off of them in terms of making the content. Hire Park Pro. We'll go down and do it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even edit if you just need someone to edit for you. That's fine too.
Yeah.
I will say on Alden, it's kind of interesting and very cool is that and you're seeing this more often in the disc golf world. Is he signed a 1-year deal last year as like a prove it deal? So he's proven it, and he played really well this year overall. And I think he's kind of earned that contract, a new and decent contract. So I'm excited to see that. And I think the other person that was interesting, I don't know if Holland Hanley's is up, but I feel like she kind of did that for a little while too. And if she is signed to a longer term contract, I think that, I know she did a prove a year last year. So I think that's kind of the way to go, especially if you're in this up and coming roles. And you got to think people like Isaac Robinson are probably kind of kicking themselves for signing a 2-year deal instead of a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
So come contract time next year, that'll be an interesting talk too. But we'll see.
Isaac probably has stipulations in his contract for performance, and I wouldn't doubt if they hand him 10 grand for that win.
Oh, 100%. I'd say at least for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Else, there's others on the list I was thinking of.
Allie Smith is an interesting one.
Yeah.
I think she's already announced that she's not coming with DGA.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of broke out this year a little bit. Played really well. Got that really awesome ace. I don't remember what tournament that was.
Oh, and yeah, Luque Lorenzen also didn't re-sign with Prodigy.
Yeah. And then Haley King, who's been kind of on a 1-year deal for the last 18 years through various manufacturers. So, be interesting to see where she goes. And Maria Oliva as well. So,
yeah, is she still with Luke Sampson? Because he's on Cast the Blast, and I thought that was going to happen, but
yeah.
I don't know if they're ready to take that relationship to the next level. It's a big commitment. The commitments go moving in together, having a baby, signing with the same disc sponsor in that order.
Totally.
Proctor.
James Proctor. Clash Infinite player last year, right?
Clash Infinite Thought Space
player.
Yeah, that's kind of a mixed bag of Skittles there. And I wouldn't doubt if somebody just went, let's put you on our highest level pro team.
Yeah.
Stop playing with all the children, juggling all your sponsors and living in Eric Oakley's van. Let's just get your own van, get your own stuff. You're the man.
I would like to see Innova sign him because I think he used to throw Innova. He had his... This is going behind the scenes a little bit, but I was trying to convince Max, our friend Max Rogetnig, to get a signature disc line from Discmania, just the word Max in big, bold typeface on the front. And that would be his brand. Because people have all this fancy artwork and, sometimes it looks good, but sometimes it just looks really busy. But if you want to tell somebody who you are, you just put your first name in big, bold print on the plate of the disc. And if Discmania ever decides to make a PD3, they can call it the Max disc because there's precedent there and they won't get sued by Innova. But then I looked into it and James Proctor had a signature Max.
Yeah, he did. The Metal Flake ones.
And it said Max in big, bold typeface.
Yep.
So.
And apparently they weren't very overstable and everyone was upset.
A Metal Flake Max, it wasn't super overstable.
I might have been Max Rogetnig's like, yeah, mine flies like a wraith.
Oh my goodness.
Cool.
So I could see him going back to Innova. If you're Innova, that's the kind of player you want, I would think.
Totally.
And he's friends with, he was caddying for Evelina, I think, and
caddying for Ella a lot too.
And Ella Hansen, and I think he deserves to be a star of a manufacturer's team.
I agree. Actually, speaking of Ella, if Holland Hanley's contract is up,
it is.
I could see if, like I said, if the Discmania budget's there and from losing Eagle and stuff like that, getting Holland to go be the one with Ella, because they make a lot of content together. They goof around. It would be
totally.
It would be a good match.
Other players, notable players that signed 1-year deals last year: Aaron Gossage, Valerie Mondejondo, both from Discraft. That could be interesting to see where that goes. But I kind of think, especially with Valerie, Discraft didn't really get to see her full potential. They got to see a good year at the end of the year. So I think she'll just kind of resign and kind of, sign another prove a year essentially, to prove that she is indeed back. But
Wonder about the Goose though.
could be interesting.
I wonder
I
if
think
people buy his discs at all, because he's like undeniably a great player.
Yeah.
He's been in some of the biggest events. But I'm looking at the Who Bought 2023 signature discs list, and I don't see him on here at all.
Crazy.
I think that one thing that Discraft has done that I think they might have had to, but I don't like, is that every player's got a signature buzz of some kind.
Yeah.
So it cannibalizes the sales of the other guys back and forth. And because you're going to throw the buzz, you're maybe not picking it because I love Aaron Gossage. His is Big Z, and I want the regular Z, so I got the Macbeth one, but I still got the signature one because they're prettier than the regular ones, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And not one player has their name on the Buzz GT. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, but like those popular, like how many signature zones are there? 6. How
So
many
many.
buzzes? 6.
I think Gossage has his own,
Yeah, Gossip
or an OS zone, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe.
Mm.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it stops the Sexton phenomenon from happening ever
Right.
because everybody wants that Firebird, and it's one guy that dominates it because his mold is good. And I'm sure whoever like sat down in that first meeting and said, "I want to be the only guy on the buzz," because they want to be the guy that's rich as hell, no matter how good they play. I don't know if that's the answer or if they need to give someone like Aaron Gossage something that's a little bit more unique to make sure that he gets that tournament support instead of being part of the great buzz battle.
They're pretty overstocked with players. It's like it's a kind of a busy brand.
I think they're going to lose a couple this year.
Yeah.
I just don't see them being able to re-sign everyone.
I don't even know if they really need to. I guess it's nice having like almost every tournament. Your odds are you're going to have one of those players on coverage, which is I think the strategy there.
Yeah.
Just be the ubiquitous brand with
Totally.
the very competitive players.
I bet at the end of this sort of contract season, I could see Discraft being viewed as the biggest loser just because they have so many talented players on their team, and people are going to kind of snipe them a little bit. But who knows? Maybe they'll make a big splash as well. So
yeah, Eagle McMahon to Discraft. Could you imagine?
I could not imagine. I was going to say, is Chris Dickerson's contract up?
I don't think so. I think he signed for a few years.
Because I think that's the best player that got the least attention.
100%. Yeah.
And if I'm him, doesn't seem like an attention-seeking personality. But for the quality of player he is, I think that Discraft was a bad idea. He got put on the second shelf, and oh yeah, Chris did pretty good. You got top 10, but we're never going to talk about it or show you.
Yeah, exactly.
Make him part of anything.
Yeah. Interestingly, speaking of Discraft, I do believe Missy Gannon's contract is also up this year, but I just don't see her playing anywhere else. She was the team captain on the FPO side over Paige Pierce, so I think she'll stay.
Yeah.
I don't see her going anywhere.
And she's like a Thrasher one-trick pony.
Yeah, totally.
Like, can you imagine her process of relearning a bag? I'm going to try every mold until I like it.
Yeah.
And then we have 10 of those, please. Thanks. And then no other drivers. Having to do that again in another manufacturer after having that much familiarity with that disc. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I would take being a one-trick pony if that was my trick.
Oh, absolutely.
I would take that trick all day, every day.
Totally.
Oh, throwing something far and straight up a tunnel.
Right? Says something about the game. That consistency is truly the biggest skill, regardless of what level you're playing at.
Yeah, she is a top 5 player in the world, and she's a very good putter. It's probably the most notable of her skills on the disc golf course. And she's not the best putter in the world. She's just very good.
I think she's like placement on the fairways. She's top 5. Putting, she's top 5, and as a top 5 combo, That puts you in the top 2, top 3.
Yep, I would
I'd
take
say
that.
she was top 2 of this season, probably. Behind Kristen, it's probably her for my next pick.
Owen Scoggins, second best player in the
Okay.
world this year.
Yeah, that's fair. I forgot. I forgot.
And
she missed a couple events.
Chris Dickerson is signed through 2025, so I don't think we're going to see him playing for anybody else anytime soon. But he should get a plaid sponsor.
Yeah.
He should get like a Cabela's or Bass Pro or something like that. I think they're the same company now.
Yeah, or like camouflage shorts with actual Discraft branding on them.
Yeah.
Well, should we do some giveaways?
Let's give away some discs.
Totally. So first up, we have the beautiful Cloudbreaker. This was to honor round 1.
Oh, do we have to give this away?
No, that is a gorgeous disc. If you guys aren't on YouTube, come check out this disc. I know if you guys are eligible, you saw it on our Instagram. Go ahead and give us a follow. We are going to have a lot of giveaways like this available. So it's just a gorgeous disc. So I think just the easiest way to do this is I'll say how many people are eligible. And so all the eligible people are anyone who commented with what was required, and that was in the post. And then obviously all our patrons are eligible for all of our giveaways. So if you want to be eligible to win any of our giveaways and basically get a bonus entry into any of them if you comment as well, go to patreon.com/parkpro, sign up. It's not that expensive, and you get to support a growing company that's trying to push Canadian disc golf forward. So this first one we have, let's go with Jesse. Why don't you pick a number between 1 and 50?
It's pretty tough. 41.
41. All right. Go through our comments here. And we have both the 73 who commented, Brian Both commented hole 2, which was his favorite hole to watch. If you haven't checked out the coverage from round 1 of BC Open, go check that out. Check out hole 2 because that's Brian Both's favorite hole. Congrats, Brian. All right, this next giveaway for round 2, we have a Scott Withers signed Barry from Clash Disc. To be eligible to win this, you had to take a friend who you wanted to play a round with at Raptors Knoll. And let's go with Matt. Pick a number between 1 and 57.
I'm going to go with lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7. That will be one of our patrons, and that is Ben Byer. Who wins that one. So, congrats, Ben.
This is nice. These discs are nice. I have a Barry. They're nice. They fly real good.
I did miscount.
Oh, no.
Sorry, I did miscount. Sorry, Ben.
On you.
Ratted on him. We have WR Mitch, who I'm not sure, they don't have their name on there, but WR Mitch, thank you for supporting us. Ben, we'll send you something anyways, and we got some extra stuff to give away.
Yeah, I'll find something in there for you, Ben.
Yeah. But congrats to WR Mitch. I'm assuming it's Mitchell. All right. And
Willie Mitchell?
That's kind of what I was thinking, maybe.
Does his middle name start with R?
Yeah. All right. We have a BC Open Owl stamped disc. This is in honor of our FPO coverage. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out on our YouTube channel.
This is an Enigma, and nice stamp on these guys.
Yeah, it's a fantastic stamp.
Yeah.
So Jesse, pick a number between 1 and 32.
19.
19. All right. That will be another one of our patrons. Sherry Ogilvy. Hey, Bruce and Sherry.
Hey, all right.
Yeah, congrats. Those are some locals that are supporting us here in Cranbrook. Congrats to them. Another patron winner. Yeah, if you guys aren't, we've got 2 patron winners out of this. So if you guys aren't signed up for that, definitely go do that. So, all right. And this next one, we have a Kirby Snyder Luft Thorium, a gorgeous disc.
I don't know that the camera's really going to do this one justice, but look at the marbling on this guy.
Yes, and the stamp is just
The
fantastic.
cat on the disc.
Yeah. I believe that's his
Very
cat.
excited to give this away. Which one? Who picked last?
Me.
All right. Matt, pick a number between 1 and 39.
I'm going to go with lucky number 37. Also, a couple of Emerald City disc stickers care of Kirby. This is Kirby's shop down in the Seattle area. He unfortunately does not ship to Canada, but if you're ever down near Seattle, check out his shop. Emerald City Discs. Thanks,
Cool
Kirby.
stickers too.
Super cool.
Oh, totally. And our winner is Tyler Christensen, who answered hole 3 as his, I believe, his favorite hole from the Horsey Coursey at the BC Open. So congrats to all our winners. We're going to reach out to you guys and send those off, get your addresses, and yeah, congrats, and obviously stay tuned for more giveaways because we got a lot of discs to give away. So
except for that first disc, I'm sorry, Andre. I'm cutting it from the episode. No, I'm keeping this one.
Keeping it.
I've got a DX Leopard. We're gonna swap that in.
Yeah, fair trade.
So pretty. All right. Congratulations, everybody. Thanks, everybody, who commented on all of our videos. Went to the Instagram, commented on that. That's what keeps us going. So really appreciate it, and hope you guys all enjoy your discs.
Yeah, totally. You guys got anything else on this episode? We've been going for a little while, so about time to wrap up.
Back in the day when I used to come and do this podcast with you, because it's been a while.
Oh,
I used to give you goofy questions at the end. I'm not going to give you a goofy one, but if you've listened this far, maybe drop something in the comments about what you do for practice in the winter to stay sharp. I know with the snow and my high quality play I had last year, I'm looking for ways to keep practicing indoors or, with minor frostbite. If you got any tips for winter training, drop them in the comments.
Yeah. I mean, Matt, do you have any off the top of your head?
Practice? We talking about practice? Not the game where I sweat and bleed for you every night, but we're talking about practice? Is that what we're talking about? We're talking about practice.
Talking about practice.
We're talking about practice. I think we mentioned it in the winter disc golf, but it's a great time to practice your standstill. You should be able to throw standstill 80 to 90%, maybe 70 to 80% as far as you throw with a run up. So if you can't throw very far with your standstill, it means your form's not very good. So get out there and do some standstill only rounds if it's super snowy. That's what I do.
Makes sense. And my tip is, I think it's going to be probably most obvious, and maybe some might view it as a cop out, but putting. I mean, it's the perfect time to practice your putting. Find a shop, find a garage, find a basement. In my case, where you can set up a basket, and I know that if you are diligent with it, you will improve year after year. I think my putting took a major step up from last year. And I think I can attribute that for sure to the setup that I had in here last year, and I'm only going to level up. So as far as my setup goes down here, so yeah, excited. Jesse, you got any tips off the top of your head?
I'm asking.
You're asking.
Actually, maybe want to play well this year.
Famous non-practicer Jesse Tamalti.
Yeah, I don't practice during the season, let alone during the off season. This is going to be a big change for me.
Awesome. Cool. Let us know in the comments your favorite winter practice techniques. So Jesse needs them.
Maybe I'll just do yoga and push-ups. I'll come back looking like Ezra, but only from like here up.
Perfect. All right.
Well, all right, fellas. From all of us here at Parked Pro, Namaste cool.